Welcome back to BOS Finance Radio, everyone. I'm Emma Lee, joining from Ottawa, along with Daniel Marcus Reed. This is our weekly highlights section. Well, it was, I think we can all agree, a pretty wild week in the markets, from corporate earnings to, well, let's just say a lot of chatter from on high. We're going to break down the top 10 market stories, day by day, starting with Monday. Daniel, are you ready for this?
I'm ready, Emma. I mean, my inbox is full of all the headlines from this week. So many moving parts. It was really something.
It really was. So let's start with Monday, August 18th. The indexes were kind of flat, but we saw a few outliers. NVIDIA and Tesla both popped, which is pretty interesting. What's the story there?
Yeah, it's the usual suspects, right? I mean, with NVIDIA, there was some heavy options trading specifically for the August 22nd calls, and that really suggests some bullish sentiment. And with Tesla, there were some positive reports about, I think it was the robo-taxi launch. Investors love to get ahead of a big narrative, so we saw some early positioning in both of those stocks.
That's a classic. I mean, you're right. It's all about the story, isn't it? Okay, let's talk about Tuesday, August 19th. This is where it gets a little choppy. We saw big tech players like Palantir and NVIDIA start to pull back a bit. But, on the flip side, we saw Intel, of all companies, rally. What was going on there, Daniel?
I know, right? It was a real head scratcher. But it was a huge $2 billion investment from SoftBank's CEO. I mean, that's a massive vote of confidence for Intel. And, there was also a little bit of speculation about a potential government stake in Intel. So when you combine a well-known name with, potential government support, it makes a really powerful narrative, and investors just flock to it.
Midweek, and the markets are, well, they're mixed. The Canadian TSX seemed to be holding its own on Wednesday, August 20th, while US markets were, just kind of pulling back a little. It seemed like there was a bit of a rotation happening.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right, Emma. I think the TSX, it's just more heavily weighted in, energy and basic materials. So while US tech stocks were a little wobbly, people were taking some profits after a big run, the Canadian market was cushioned by those sectors. It really just shows the different flavors of the two markets, right?
Let's talk about Thursday, August 21st. It was a tough one, especially for, some of the household names. Walmart shares dropped after their earnings report, even though sales were solid. And we also saw a big plunge in solar stocks like First Solar. What was that all about?
That was a clear case of political and policy risk, Emma. The drop in solar stocks came after a political announcement, and it just reminded everyone that government policy can be a major factor in an industry. And with Walmart, it's that classic thing where investors are looking past the strong sales and they're focusing on a weaker than expected profit. It's that old saying, buy the rumor, sell the news. Yeah.
And what a finish! I mean, Friday, August 22nd, it was just a massive day for both the US and Canadian markets. So, Daniel, what sent everything soaring, especially on a day where both markets hit record highs?
Well, I think a couple of things, Emma. First, in Canada, the government removed some of its retaliatory tariffs on US goods. That just really boosted confidence in a trade deal. But the bigger story for the US, I think, was the speech by the Fed chair. His comments signaled that the US Federal Reserve might be open to cutting interest rates in the coming months.
And that's exactly what investors were waiting to hear.
Oh, yeah, you're right. A potential rate cut it's like rocket fuel for the markets. It makes borrowing cheaper. It stimulates economic growth, and it just created a buying frenzy. So, I mean, the combination of positive trade news in Canada and then a potential dovish turn from the Fed in the US was just the perfect 1-2 punch to end the week on a really high note.
It really was. And that's our rundown of the week's market highlights. Thanks for breaking it all down, Daniel. We'll be back next week to do it all over again.
Thanks, Emma. We'll see you then.
It's been a great first week here at BOS Finance Radio. We've loved sharing these insights with you. If you learned something new, we'd appreciate it if you could give us a big thumbs up. If you want to join us for the long haul, make sure to subscribe. And hey, if you know someone who's looking to learning and knowing more about finance, please share this with them. We're building a community here, and your support means the world. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.